Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at how to read and write text files. So I've created a new package called read-write, and what I need to do is add the helper classes. So let's go to Chrome. So we're going to be using a couple of helper files today. Just like the AQA console, AQA provide a helper class to read text from a file and to write text to a file. So to get to here, you go to vle.riddlesdown.org, click on Groups, Computing Year 12, view all the lectures, and it's the lecture called Comp1. So you'll notice in here there's a few files. One of them that's really useful is the Java cheat sheet, which has examples of how to use all the code that we use. So there's an example of how to use the AQA write text file and AQA read text file classes in there as well. So we're going to set up our package first with the AQA read text file and AQA write text file. So to do that, I am going to add a new class, and it's going to be a Java class. So Java class, and I'm going to give it a name that's exactly the same as this one here. And to make sure it is exactly the same, I'm going to copy and paste it. So it should be AQA read text file with capitals in the right place. And I'm going to click finish. And you see that it creates an empty class, and I'm going to do exactly the same for the other one as well. So next, and this one is write text file, paste. Okay, so I've got two files, AQA write text file and AQA read text file. So what I now need to do is get the code in there. So I'm going to go to the website, I'm going to open up the first one, and it gives me, this is a text file at the moment, so it just gives me it all in text. So I'm going to select it all by pressing Control A, copying it by pressing Control C. I'm going to come here and I'm literally going to delete everything and paste. So this is the AQA read text file. So I need to make sure I'm in the AQA read text file class, and I'm just going to paste. And you see here, paste in, no errors. So I'm now going to go back and I'm going to do the same to the AQA write text file. So I'm going to again copy and paste. If I wanted to, seeing as I'm here, I could also do the console. So if I go to AQA console, I could also grab the console as well at the same time. So if ever you don't have it to copy and paste, create a new file. Make sure it's called AQA console. Click finish. Copy the console code and then paste. It's important that you do know how to add the consoles, the different files into a project if you don't have them available, because in the exam you will need to access it from the shared area and then place it into your console. And one way of doing it is creating a class with the right name and copy and pasting the code in. Okay, so that's got it set up. So here I have my read-write class. So I can now start using it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write. So I'm going to open up an AQA write text file. So I'm going to say AQA write text file equals new. Oh, actually, I need to give it a name. I'm going to call it write to file equals new AQA write text file. Okay, so the problem I've got is mine didn't get added to the right package. So it just happens to you, they get added to the default one. You can just highlight them and drag them to the read write, and I'm going to just move them into the correct place. So now they're all in the same package. This should have happened when I was first creating the files, but it now works fine. So created a new. So what I'm going to add now is I'm going to first of all create a variable to hold the file name. So I'm going to say string file name equals test.text. So there's my file name, and I'm going to then tell it to try and open the file. So write to file. So I've called the variable write to file. I'm then going to press dot and use one of its methods called open file. And I pass it the file name. Now there's an extra option that I can also give it, and I can say whether or not I want to, when I write to the file, append to the end of it, or just rewrite over it. So if I had some data and I wanted to add it to the end of the file, I would add true here. If I just wanted to rewrite the file every time I run this code, I would write false. So I'm going to start with just writing to the file and overwriting it every time. So I'm then going to create some variables of things to write to the file. So I'm going to have string line 1 equals something new 1, and then I'm just going to add a couple. So I'm going to have a couple of different strings to write to my file that I'm going to create. I now need to write these strings, so I'm going to say write to file dot, and then there's a method called write to text file, and I'm going to write to text file and write line 1, write to text file, and I'm going to write variable 2, and then line 3. So I've created a string with the variable name. I've opened the file using that variable name. I've then created some lines to write to the file, some text, and I've stored them in a variable, and now I'm writing them to the variable. The last thing I need to do before I end this is to close the file that I'm writing to. So write to file dot close file. You should always, if you've opened a file, you should always close it. So I'm going to run my code, and nothing will happen here. Looks pretty boring, but if I go to my documents, so you will have a NetBeans project folder in your My Documents. The project that you've created, read write, will have a folder, and then in there I've got a new text file's been created called test, and if I look at it, 3 lines have been written to it. Now, as I said before, false means that you rewrite the file again, so I'm going to rewrite the file, removing the something. So I'm going to run it again. And you'll see here that my text file has changed, and now it just says new 1, new 2, new 3. If I wanted to append to the end of the file, so I'm going to keep the file as it was, but add extra data to the end, I can write true. Oh, let's run the file. And you can see it added them. So if I run it again, it added them again. In fact, I could, if I wanted to, put this in a for loop and run it for 10 times. So well, I is less than 10, I plus plus. Oh, didn't write I. So well, int I is less than 10. So I could write them lines 10 times to that file. If I run it, you can actually see the data being added to it as it went down. If I run it again and come back, See how the file is getting refreshed? So I'm adding new data to the end of the file. If I write false and only run this once, the file gets rewritten with the new information. If the file name doesn't exist when it tries to create it, it won't overwrite it, it'll just create a new file. So if I misspelt it and just put test.txt, I'll still have my test file, text folder, but I'll also have a test one. Okay, have a play with writing some strings to a file.